I'm a man on a mission, but I'm a man that is leading an organization of over 1,300 soldiers, men and women who have served in the Israeli Defense Forces. Because of what we did, our actions, what we saw, the violence that we used, the way that we've experienced the occupation that we were part of and what it means to control by force millions of people, we decided to speak out, to break our silence, and to bring forward, first and foremost, to our public, to our society, the realities of the occupation. But we also understand that the reality of 54 years of military control over another people is not only an internal Israeli issue, but an issue that is extremely important to put on the table of the world, and to make sure that as the 54th year of the Israeli occupation is starting, we will do whatever we can to make sure that the 55th year will be the final year, hopefully.
Avner, you just mentioned the violence that you used. Would it be possible to give us maybe one brief example of how Israeli soldiers are, I don't know if this is the right word to use, but indoctrinated? You know, time and again, we've seen images of very young men using violence and force against Palestinians. It's almost unthinkable in a way.
I would say one small example, and there's so many examples of this military rule throughout the years, so many elements in which it affects the lives of millions of Palestinians on a day-to-day level. But something that's extremely personal to me, because I took part in it, is pretty common practice throughout the years and also today of home invasions. I myself was a sergeant of a snipers team, and one of the missions that I carried out was going into Palestinians' homes and using their homes as military posts. And there are different reasons for soldiers to enter homes. It could be for using the home as military posts for snipers or observation points. It could be using the home as a place for soldiers to rest if it's a very big or long operation. But it could also be sort of a random operation of searching and entering into homes. But I think the most important element is, and this is, I think, what motivated me personally to break my silence, was to understand the arbitrariness of it, the fact that the Palestinian family could go to sleep at night. And I think, with COVID, hitting around the world, we understand the importance of the safety of our homes, and understanding that for years out of my life, for 3 years out of my life and 2 years as I served in the occupied territories, my job was to make sure Palestinians will not feel safe in their homes.
You personally were carrying out these operations in Palestinian territories. Again, briefly, if you can tell us, how do Palestinians react to you today, knowing what you have committed in the past?
Part of my ability to become an activist was actually interaction with a Palestinian, still as a soldier, who managed to show me his life and his reality. And I think that was very important for me in my journey. But even more important, Palestinians that we work with today, what we're trying to do is not create this coexistence, kumbaya reality, but co-resistance, obviously non-violent co-resistance, and making sure that Israelis and Palestinians could live in this region peacefully and hopefully. But the only way that could happen is by thinking about a future that does not contain 18, 19-year-olds controlling another people by force.
What price have you, Avner, had to pay for breaking the silence?
So there are prices to pay in the Israeli society for speaking out, and the current prime minister and probably the future prime minister have both been part of incitement campaigns against us. But with that said, there are thousands and thousands of Israelis that stand with us and support us. In the end of the day, the price that we're paying is much smaller than the price of the Palestinians who have to live under our control and our might. And that's why, even with the pressure and even with incitement, we will continue to break our silence.